Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Maxwell Black and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about building muscle and strength. What is building muscle? How does building muscle work? And why do you want to build muscle? Look man, I started working out when I was 19, but I was doing it all wrong because what I was so focused on is looking cool at the gym. So I would do these fancy exercises that I saw on my social feeds, watching influencers do them, but what I was missing is that I wasn't doing the right exercises. It just looked good, and I worked out like that for like 2 years and I didn't see any improvement. Over the past 6 months I decided, you know what, I need to switch things up. I went from weighing 75 kgs to weighing about 85, so that's 10 kgs in 6 months. It's a lot of bulking, which I won't go into nutrition today, but in a different video we'll talk about nutrition. Today I want to solely focus on being in the gym and doing intentional work at the gym, and how you do intentional work at the gym so you can reach your peak performance and your most prized look, right? So the first thing, there are 4 pillars that I want to address when I talk about muscle building and the elements that make up building muscle. It's not about looking cool at the gym. It's not about all these fancy exercises and these fancy food and all of that. There are 4 pillars, and these are the secrets that will carry your gym career and double it by an exponent of 10. So you're gonna 10x at this point. The first thing that I want to talk about, and then this thing has to come on. Immediately when you find the perfect spot to record your video and you want to share valid information, boom. But anyway, I'll just continue recording the video because I believe that this is important information that I need to share. Do mind the background noises. We'll try and work on them as we progress. Today I just want to share some bars. So the 4 pillars of building muscle are as follows. The first thing you want to focus on is tension, right? The first pillar of building muscle is focusing on muscle tension. So that tighten. So before I go into the 4 pillars, I just want to explain how a muscle works. So a muscle is like almost like a rubber. And that rubber, as you stretch it and contract it, it almost becomes, it loosens up. So if you get a plastic rubber, whatever the case might be, and it's in like a bulb cube shape, and you start stretching it up and down, it won't retain that cubic shape, but it will increase in size. The beauty though about muscles is that although they do stretch, in that stretching position, they harden as it becomes bigger. Unlike a rubber, where when you stretch it, it stays in that form without retaining its core tensile strength, right? So with muscle, you get to pump it as much as you want while still keeping its tensile strength, right? So let's go into tension. Tension is basically you stretching out the rubber and then decontracting it. English. But it's you basically stretching out the rubber and then allowing the rubber to go into place, stretching out the rubber and allowing the muscle to go into place. Let's make an example. So you're in the gym, you're working out, and you get people who are doing, for example, bicep pulls. You're doing this, right? What's happening there is that there's no tension that's being applied into your muscles. Because all the tension that you're supposed to be feeling on your muscles, you're feeling it on your back. But immediately once you maintain a stable position and you allow a full stretch as possible, and then you contract, what you will have is that the muscle stretches out like you pull the rubber, and then as you contract back in, it'll tighten up again. And if you do that for a series of times, like a rubber, if you pull and stretch and pull and stretch and pull and stretch for long enough, it'll start accepting that as its new form. So that's the first pillar, tension. Find tension workouts that can give you as much tension as possible on any muscle group that you work out. Number 2, and probably more sounds. Just wait for that to pause. Wait for them to pause. Just wait for that to pause. that to pass. I'm working, just busy. But okay, then number 2, what you want to focus on is, we were on tension. So you want to move on to progressive overload. Progressive overload is, for example, well, unlike a rubber at this point, like, you can't do that. You can't keep on stretching the muscle without allowing it to almost recover, right? So for it to have the beauty of retaining its tensile strength, you need to allow it to recover. So it accepts that as its new form while also retaining its strength, right? So recovery is important. But let's just, before we move into recovery, which is going to be the final step, it's progressive overload. So every time you go into the gym and you've applied your tension, what you'll notice is that there's going to be a time where, when you still use a particular weight, maybe let's say 10 kgs, and you still want to apply that weight that you applied before, what you'll notice is that the weight doesn't feel as heavy enough, and you're not getting that full stretch that you'd want from your muscles. What's happening there is that your muscles have reached something we call a plateau. So there's no longer growth in that, because your muscles are evolving and they're adapting, because humans are constantly adapting. So if you put someone in a position where they constantly need to do the same thing over and over again, they eventually get good at it, because you adapt to certain situations. So what you want to do is always constantly shock your muscles. Never allow your muscles to fully adapt to a specific workout. So if you're doing, let's say, biceps again, or legs, or whatever the case might be, try and make sure that every 3 weeks you up the weight, or the reps, right? Try and just make sure that you are never put in your comfort zone. In gym, you never want to be in your comfort zone. You always want to be out of your comfort zone, doing the hard work and doing the heavy stuff, even if it sucks, because that stretching of the muscle and that pain that you're feeling and that heavy load that you can't carry, that's muscles being translated into tensile strength that later gets translated into how you look. But if you're not applying those philosophies and you're coming into gym and you're just lifting the same old 10s for the past 6 months, then you're not going to see any growth. And it's just simply that. You're not going to see any growth. So progressive overload is your second pillar. The third pillar is something we call hypertrophy, right? Hypertrophy is, again, like a rubber. When you're stretching long enough, the rubber, if you stretch it 10 times, it'll go back to its original form. If you stretch it 20 times, it'll almost try to retain its original form. But if you stretch it 100 times, then it has no choice but to move and get molded into the new form that you want it to be molded in. So hypertrophy is exhausting your muscles all the way to failure. So not allowing yourself to how can I say this? So we have the tension on the muscle, but also we have the progressive overload where it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier as you go. But you don't just want to go heavy and just do one rep and say, oh, I've gone heavy for today, I'm done. That's a different kind of training. If you want to build muscle, you need to get to a point where your muscle, your body, your mind can't take the tension anymore. It can't take the constant, where it almost feels like it's stopping, like it's stuck. And it feels like it's almost like shaking. That's where your muscle has been stretched enough to a point where it can compress, decompress, compress, decompress, compress. It can, it can, yeah, I just probably look stupid doing that. But you get what I'm trying to say, is that you get to a point where your muscles are in so much pain because of the stretching and contracting and stretching and contracting over and over again, to a point where you can't go anymore. So during the fourth stage, which is recovery, which you're going to get to now, that's where your muscles can say, oh, damn, this thing has been so stretched so much. I have no choice now. I need to retain this original state. So this is going to push us to move into our fourth and final pillar of building muscle: recovery. Again, sorry about this rubber analogy. It does sound a little bit stupid, but if you just look at it like that, I promise it will make sense. Like a rubber, if you stretch it enough and you put it under the sun and you continue stretching it enough, and then eventually you're like, you know what, let me just let this thing go. It's not retaining the form. What it will do is it'll go back to its original, it'll try and retain its original strength, original form, where it's trying to retain tensile again, where it's trying to retain its strength and move back into, because gravity plays a big role and it's more scientific now, but it's going to try and contract into its original size. Of course, it won't be able to remain into its original size, but what you have is that your muscles now have allowed themselves to heal and repair, and from being stretched all the way maybe this much, now they're going to contract to this much. Now, doing this long enough where you have you work out, recover, work out, recover, work out, recover, what you'll have is that maybe your muscle starts this much, right? And the first time you work out, you stretch it all the way to this much, and then as you stretch it, you go back and you recover, and it tries to return to its original state. And the more you do that consistently over time, what happens is it goes and you recover, 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 and all of a sudden, all of this work that you've been doing has compounded, adding on top of each other unknowingly. So the key takeaway, or a recommendation that I'd like to leave in the video, is that in anything that you do, in anything that you'd ever want to do, consistency is the thing that's going to get you through that thing. Because without you coming back to the gym, you won't have this contracting and decontracting movement. All you have is then it returns back to form, then it returns back to form. But with consistency, you're not giving it a chance to go back to its original state. So you're telling it to, hey, evolve now. I want you to retain this state. But if you are inconsistent at the gym, you allow it so much time to recover that it returns back to its original state. And then you ask yourself, oh my goodness, I've been working out for so long. Why am I not seeing results? Or maybe because you're not disciplined. Maybe because you're not showing up. Maybe because you're not spending enough time applying the 4 pillars of strength. Maybe you're not applying tension in your workouts. Maybe you're not applying a progressive overload in your workouts. Maybe you're not pushing to failure in your workouts. Maybe you're not allowing your body to rest, recover. So if you can master these 4 pillars and get rid of these social media gurus who are doing some whack ass shit on the internet, trying to convince you that if you can, goddamn, I don't know, man, like if you can do some weird ass exercises, you're gonna all of a sudden be this big giant. No, that's not the science behind working out. That's not how you gain muscle. Now I'm being violent, I know, but I just want to almost sift through the dust for you so that you can get to a state where you can move past the garbage and start building strength. Start getting to a point, because if I started doing what I'm talking about 2 years ago, I'd be way bigger than I am, probably at 90, 100 kgs, lifting more, doing more, being able to perform far better than I can now. But because of all the garbage I needed to sift through to get to understand what a muscle is and what's its function, and how do you take advantage of that function so it plays into your advantage, that's difficult. But once you get to that point, it's easier for you to build muscle and focus on the right information that can get you to the right state faster. So we'll just go over it again. The 4 pillars of strength are: you need to make sure that you build as much tension. Number 2, you need to make sure that you progressively push yourself each and every single day more than you did the previous day. Number 3, you need to make sure you push yourself to failure with each and every workout that you do. You don't allow your muscles to say, oh, I'm saving myself for next week. No, every set is to failure. Every set is to failure. And then finally, do get yourself some nice needed recovery. In the next video, we'll talk about nutrition and how to retain muscles during your recovery stage, and why the importance of rest and what to eat during this time where you're not in the gym, and how to better yourself there so you can build even more muscle. I guess that's what we all want, to just build as much muscle as we can. But so stay tuned for that video. For now, I'm gonna head out to my gym session and build a little bit more strength whilst I still can, as I'm still in my 20s. Unfortunately, I won't have the advantage of being able to build as much strength as I continue to grow older. So I'm gonna catch you later. I'm gonna catch you on a different video. Thank you guys if you watched to this far. I'm getting better at talking in front of the camera. I hope you guys see it. But yeah, man, let's do some progressive overload. See you later. Maxwell Black out.